Welcome to a short video interview. I have a guest, Keshav. Hi.
Hello.
You're from Atlassian. How about introducing yourself really quick? What are you doing at Atlassian? What's your role?
Sure. I'm from Atlassian. I'm the head of the product management team for the server products. So in server products, we're basically all the self-managed products, whether it's server or data center. And this spans Jira, Confluence, Bitbucket, Bamboo, and so on.
And HipChat. And
HipChat and any other product.
Basically, you could say everything that my business as one of Atlassian's partners is, like, at least in Germany with us, and also the US business that we're doing, is kind of 100% server-based, as we're working with very big customers.
Right.
How do you see that today? Is the cloud, the other stuff, the not server stuff, is that only for the small and hip people, and the real business is still on server with Atlassian? You see that changing? What's your vision on that?
Yeah, for sure. Majority of our customers today are using server products, and certainly the bigger customers are very much mostly on server. In terms of, and so today I would agree, like most of the smaller customers tend to be in cloud or on server, but we don't see any very large customers currently in the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the vision, I think Atlassian's approach is really we want to do what our customers are asking us. So today we know customers are using our server products, and we want to make sure that we're committed to the server products. We continue to innovate there, and while we know cloud is a trend, different customers are at different points in that. For some customers, they expect to be in the cloud at some point. Other customers don't. And so from an Atlassian perspective, we are open to whatever our customers want to do, and we want to make sure that we're serving their needs.
And that's also why we're sitting here. This is Wiesbaden, Germany, and you went a long way. First, I learned you've moved from Seattle to Sydney.
Right.
And now, at least for this trip, you came to Wiesbaden, to Germany, to get to know some of our server-focused customers.
Yes.
Actually, I'm pretty happy that Atlassian is doing this investment to hire people like you and to keep on developing the server side of their business, as it's so much more flexible. And then Germany obviously has this data and data security, privacy preferences. Is that something that you see if you're managing the product from Australia, or is privacy and data security rather a side niche topic that you just have to get across a certain bar and that's it?
From a server perspective in particular, you're asking?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I'd say we've become increasingly aware of, again, it's driven from our customers. They're telling us, hey, we're growing our deployments, and we have more and more requirements and demands as Atlassian products become mission critical. They have to meet certain privacy compliance requirements. And so I think we certainly see a lot of customers choosing us today, especially the server products, for that reason. But also there's more requests around it. And I think as we've seen Atlassian products kind of grow and mature and become an increasingly mission-critical part of enterprises, we're seeing more of that. So I'd say we are hearing about it. Mm-hmm. But it's also an opportunity for us. That's one of the reasons I'm here, to learn more from our customers, the kind of customers that we're really targeting.
Tomorrow, this is Monday today, and tomorrow and Tuesday we have what we call Atlassian Enterprise Club, where we invite our biggest customers for a certain topic. And you're gonna be giving a talk tomorrow. What is it going to be about, and why should people who watch this now or in 5 hours come to Wiesbaden and listen to it and get to know you in person? Well, tell us a little.
Yeah, sure. So when you sort of reached out to me and told me about this event, I was thinking to myself, what would be interesting? And one of the things that I thought would be a good opportunity is just to come out and talk about the products in general, as the Atlassian server products. What are we investing in today? What are we looking at going forward? So from a roadmap perspective, what are our priorities? So I think one of the benefits I think you would get out of coming here is hearing, I guess from me, sharing my perspectives on the areas that we're focusing on across the server products. But the other part of it is, and this is selfish from my perspective, which is I would love to hear from you and learn from you. It's sort of a two-way communication, and I'd love to hear more about your scenarios, some of your unique challenges, and just learn from you. So
yeah, that's also something that I'm trying to sell to our customers often if they ask me where should I come to this event, because you're going to meet Keshav and be able to reach out to him later. Do you see that happen within Atlassian, that people are approached by customers who have certain wishes, and how do you go about this? Is this something that you would want to come out of such an event, or is it rather something that you try to prevent because people disturb you from your ivory tower work?
Yeah, no, I think no, it's definitely something we welcome. I know I do. We want to hear from customers. We want to hear what they're trying to do. Ultimately, we're building this for our customers. And so, absolutely, I think we have other events that we have. Obviously, we have the summit. We have the one coming up in Barcelona. And so there's these bigger events where we get to do that. There's also user groups that we try to be, as much as we can. One of the things at Atlassian that people do is when they go to different cities, maybe they're on holiday, but if there's a user group, they might drop in. And again, it's exactly to do that, to hear from customers directly. There's nothing like, sitting in front of customers and talking with them. While we get a ton of feedback from a variety of sources, I always appreciate and enjoy that face-to-face.
Okay. What's the one thing that made you come from Seattle and people may be able to guess from where? Otherwise, you can look Keshav up. I think it's not that difficult to guess.
Yeah.
Why did you come to Atlassian? What was the main driver? What is it that excites you about this company?
Absolutely. So I worked for 20 years at Microsoft, a very large software company, very successful. And Microsoft's a great company. But for Atlassian, the thing that drew me here was, first of all, the emphasis on team collaboration. So I've spent a lot of time in my career working on collaboration style products, Microsoft Project, SharePoint, Yammer. And even when I was working in the Windows group, we were working on the engineering systems, which was designed to drive more collaboration. So I'm very passionate about, and I believe in the power of team collaboration. So right off the bat, Atlassian's vision and even the stock ticker, with team kind of caught my attention. It aligns very well with sort of what I'm inherently passionate about. So that was a big factor. The second was I also was really drawn to Atlassian is more than just a set of tools. We obviously have products, but we also believe in a culture and a set of values, and we believe that has a big role to play in driving collaboration. I've been part of many teams, and you could use the best tools out there, but if you don't have good culture, good processes, then all of that breaks down. And so, again, I was really drawn with Atlassian's approach of, first of all, recognizing that team collaboration isn't just, hey, let's ship some cool software, but it's about kind of really driving that cultural change and being invested in it. So I had actually heard about Atlassian several years ago, in fact. I think it was, so there's an author by the name of Dan Pink, and he has a book called Drive. I read that, and I actually had him speak at some conference. And
he's citing Atlassian.
He does. He explicitly cited Atlassian. And I was always, it's one of my favorite books, and it aligned with my own sort of thought process. And so there's.
So if you don't know Drive by Dan Pink, you really want to check out the book. There's also a very popular 10-minute video and a TED Talk.
Yeah, the TED Talk is one of the top 20. I'd like to say.
It's awesome with the matches and the camel. I love this metaphor. However, you have to watch the video. So you're responsible for Server, and I'm so fond of Server. And now I would love to hear your pitch on why people should try out your Server version of the products.
Which, just anyone or all of them?
I have no idea what Confluence is. Like when we had lunch, I asked Keshav, as you have been working on SharePoint, what's their biggest flaw? What's the weakness that I can tackle in sales? And then you had a very good answer. Let's start with that, and I'll come back to this other question. Do you remember what you answered?
I vaguely remember. I'll sort of step into that. I think so. SharePoint is one of those products. It's kind of a love-hate kind of relationship people have with SharePoint. I think it is a very flexible platform. You can do all kinds of things with it, and we see customers, partners do all sorts of things with it. At the same time, there's some core use cases around collaboration that, for me, it was eye-opening. Quite honestly, I've have used SharePoint for a long time. I've also used other products like Yammer, but Confluence, and especially when I started at Atlassian, was my first real experience with Confluence. And I'm sure Atlassian uses it in unique ways as well, but it took me a month or so, and suddenly I realized how powerful Confluence is. And I think one of the things I think we talked about this is customers understanding that value of Confluence. It's sometimes hard to get across if you actually haven't experienced it.
Yeah, that was the point that I was trying to get. Like he said, if I wanted to sell that, I would make people try out Confluence so that they can experience that, and then afterwards, I think that you used the term no-brainer.
Yeah, really, it is.
That there's just another form of collaboration that these Atlassian tools offer. Okay, so back to the pitch. I am now on your download page. I can choose to just get a Confluence Cloud instance, or I can download a tarball and install it on my Linux server, for example. Why should I go for the tarball?
Well, I think it really depends on what you're looking for today. And we are continuing to invest in our cloud products. And if you want to get up,
he's circumventing the question. Just give me the advantages of the tarball. What's the cool things about Server? I don't mean to ditch cloud and what's the advantages that you see?
Well, today I think the Server has a very rich ecosystem. I think so. If you're looking for a complete sort of solution,
like hundreds of add-ons.
That's right. And there's also, I think, from a flexibility perspective, I think Server has more flexibility and customizations and things like that. And obviously the fact that you can install it on your own behind the firewall or wherever you want, that is important. Security and those kinds of things, that's important for customers. So those are the big things.
Yeah, that's pretty complete. Like what we also see is that, and it's kind of I never know whether this is good or bad, but customers require us to kind of abuse the software in a certain way so that it fits their initial thought process or model how the software should be used. And then with Server, you can do that. Like with Server, you can do everything. You can change everything in the software. And then sometimes we do that, and then telling the customer, look, this is not very smart. This is not how the software is built, and it's not gonna be a good way to work. I think we don't care. We want this. It wasn't a concept. It has to be done this way.
Right.
And then you build it, and afterwards they find out, oh, that's not a very smart idea.
Right.
Let's kick it again and use it as designed. And this is like, it's probably not very smart. It's definitely not very efficient. But from an adoption perspective, what I see companies go through a lot is that they come in with this top-down, I control this thing attitude. And then after a couple of months, they get this eye-opening, oh, this is how cool collaboration can be. This is how much I can trust my people.
Yeah.
So let's get rid of all this hierarchy and controlling thing.
Yeah.
And that's something, this kind of learning phase for this big company, cloud can't offer. It's just like, this is how it is. This is how you're going to use it. And if this is not for you, it's not for you. That's it. And that's something that we do see, at least today, a lot. I don't know whether it's smart for Atlassian to foster that, but at the point where we are with those big German companies right now, it's very smart to have them have it their way first and then adopt the real collaboration slowly. And it's something that's
fascinating. Yeah, for sure. I think I've experienced this both in my prior sort of life at Microsoft. And here it's just a common thing where, as you get familiar with the product, you realize your requirements are changed.
In SharePoint, like the default is you have this team site or something. And then if you create a new element, like a page on the SharePoint wiki or something, it's going to be closed. And you have to deliberately open it to your team, to the public, to everyone. Same goes for Google Docs, for example. You create a new text file, and then it's closed only for you. And by default, Confluence is the opposite. Like you create a new element, and it's open for everyone, unless you close it down to your team or a certain space where this is pre-configured. And like just like if you're visioning this approach of the software, it shows how, at a very visible level, how Confluence helps fostering transparency, collaboration, and these things.
Right, and then working in open, that sort of open by default notion does take some getting used to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can see where initially, because we're not used to that, it's like, wait a minute, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable. But then once you actually use it for a while, you're like, yeah, of course. It doesn't mean that you can't put security or privacy, or you can close down a page. But it's a question of what is the default behavior, and that it's something that is not something an individual. It's like one of those team things that everyone has to embrace it, and then it starts making more sense, and then you start seeing the value of that, and it sort of creates a snowball effect.
Cool, Keshav, thank you so much for your time. If you think this is interesting, and you can speak a little English, please feel welcome at our event tomorrow. I know it's kind of short notice if this is the first thing you heard about this event. It's down below, CBRT/AEC 2017. But I think Keshav is going to be around, at least digitally, for a while. And you can reach out on LinkedIn to him or send me an email. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm very excited for your speech tomorrow.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.